Welcome everyone to Hacking Infinity Meatybones, and not just Meatybones, but the fantasy Meatybones that we apparently haven't played since October.
A little bit.
Yeah, it's been a little while.
That's since before my birthday.
Yeah,
That's a long ways
Yeah.
back.
Happy birthday.
yeah. And a very happy unbirthday as well.
Only good things will come of this.
Yes,
Clearly,
agreed.
there's,
Wonderful and perfect.
there's no doom in the air. It's all going to go
No.
swimmingly.
It's all down in the dungeon.
Speaking of
Doom in the
dungeons.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, speaking of dungeons, how are you all doing?
We're doing okay.
How's work?
That's an anti-segue. I think you're going to lead to the proper thing, but you just go.
Oh,
We're
no,
about to go right immersed into it. Nope.
No. I mean, sure. I mean, you could.
Infinite
Yeah,
angle upward back. Nope.
yeah. I mean, sure. We could jump immediately into game stuff and figure out where we were and who we
I'm
hired and all that.
fabulous.
Especially since we've been talking for I guess 40 minutes while I obsessively set
Sure.
stuff up. But
No, I needed time to set up your extra helpers that you hired last game.
That's true.
Because I thought to myself, oh, I'll get around to doing this before we have another game. No problem.
Of course.
Gene, you had 3 months.
Look, I'm
Technically.
bad at time. Anyone who knows me will tell you. Yeah.
Look, I fully agree with this plan.
Yeah.
This was correct.
I totally get it. I mean, not that I've ever had like lots of time to do like a game thing, and then not realize that I haven't done it until the last minute. That's never.
Yeah,
Because
no,
I'm always on
what?
top of my stuff.
Yeah, like for this game, we were alerted real early, like so long ago, about checking in to make sure we'd all be here. That was,
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
I almost needed another check-in because it was so good and prepared. I kid. It's a good time. Good time for good pals. I'm just gonna mute myself for a second while I load up the chat.
There was several hours in the middle of the night in which to prepare.
In the spirit of being very out of season, I have this. Oh no. Oh dear.
So, but that
Okay.
sticker is actually okay. I mean, it's apropos of nothing, but it's interesting. It's not I love voting. It's I Ohio voting.
Ohio voting.
That. mm.
So
It could be hey in Japanese.
Yeah.
Ohio.
Ohayou gozaimasu.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get chat up and it won't. iPads.
iPads.
so
I did
is
it.
your cool. So is your
Yeah.
iPad your main computer at this point?
No, my main computer is my old computer because my old computer, the problem it had, like there was a fan with a broken temperature gauge and something about the hard drive isn't right. Not the hard drive, the motherboard is offset. So occasionally it whirs up really loud and then shuts off randomly. But about a week ago, it stopped making that noise and shutting off randomly. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe it just fixed itself. But then yesterday it was making that noise again. I was like, oh no. And one of my friends gave me an old iPad, not an iPad, an old MacBook Pro from like 2009 or so that they had. They just didn't use anymore. So I have that, and I have stuff on that to do. But so far, I still have my precious Pappy keeping going. And I don't. The pumpkin is way over there. It's can't even reach it. Slowly, like dehydrating itself.
I don't love. We do not love this pumpkin. I think the next time we
Should
play,
I grab it?
no,
yeah.
play
Show
Mortal
us the
Bank,
pumpkin.
we have
so
to do a new ritual where we desecrate a pumpkin or a pumpkin paraphernalic
I
item.
mean, if an eldritch horror isn't messing with you, then it's not mortally bankrupt.
Yeah,
And this isn't mortally bankrupt. It's Meatybones.
it is.
Yeah. No, but that pumpkin is.
Yeah,
I mean, but we could still queue up a video of a pumpkin being blown up or something.
yeah.
I'll see if I can work that in the.
There's just a weird TV in the dungeon that broadcasts popular viral videos, and one of the viral videos is a pumpkin being blown up.
Okay.
Oh no. That is slow motion. Robots.
Oh,
Oh dear. Heavens.
yeah. A little problematic.
Hmm.
Uh,
It's very beautiful.
yes. Can you
Here
hear
in
us?
slow. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh, that's not good.
Well,
Oh,
oh,
Oh
oh,
no. Oh no. What's happening?
good old Skype.
Adaser, you're so far behind.
oh,
Skype! No. You're bad. You're bad, Skype. You're bad to us. You're bad for us. We do not love. Oh no. I'm just gonna eat this apple.
I'm just gonna.
Oh no, we're robots together, apparently.
We're
Not good.
roboting together.
Yep. I can still
It's weird.
hear Brad just fine.
Yeah.
But it's like Brad and I are on one side and Gene's on the other, and when you look through the thing, robots.
It's
Nope.
robots all the way down.
First. This is
Well,
mad.
in the meantime, let's watch this.
See, we have to. We have to desecrate something.
Okay, well, that particular pumpkin isn't going to be destroying any computers anymore.
Yeah. Because as we all know, them can take computers.
Apparently, I did not know, but we certainly found out.
Yeah. Destroy them pumpkins.
Yeah. Destroy all pumpkins.
What are they responding to? We won't know. We'll never know which joke was funny. All context is lost. Humor has been destroyed. Humor is based on timing, and timing has been destroyed by the evil pumpkin. Ergo, pumpkins have destroyed humor. Pumpkins are humorless, time destroying, awful. Fuck you, pumpkins.
Meatybones?
Yes.
Nuts.
Yes.
Yep, Meatybones.
Let's just start rolling stuff.
So we're oldsters. We're on the town council. We were bickering, and we were trying to like keep stuff normal, and we were trying to keep the airships flowing in and out because that's crucial to the economy of our town.
Yep.
And then we wanted to send people into a dungeon, so we went into a tavern, and then we put a big listing up with big fancy script that I made with my contour shifting powers.
Yes. It'll appeal to all ages.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And now we have helpers.
Yes, you have helpers.
Let's meet our helpers.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
where would you say on your script to meet you all? Like, where would you? Oh, you should. Did you introduce your characters? Like who your characters were, your names and races?
We were just about to do that when you returned.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
Timing.
Yep.
So
I'll go first.
Oh,
okay.
I am Gervona. I am a dark elf, old lady. I have a bunch of grandkids, some of which have defected to this other person over here and his newfangled contraptions.
Yeah.
But I follow other ways of doing things, like harvesting.
You're a wedding dressmaker.
Yeah, and I make wedding dresses out of spider silk.
Yes.
All the rage.
Mm-hmm.
And then across the street in not a rival shop, because traps and wedding dresses rarely coincide.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
you're working on that.
If you're trying to decide whether or not to get a wedding dress or a trap, then the rivalry is intense.
I've got an gold.
So I'm playing Curdle, who is an old kobold trapsmith, who has their main thing is that they love not just to set up traps, but the traps can't be straightforward. It has to be, there has to be like this Rube Goldberg effect where they somebody like trips a tripwire, and that releases that sets an egg rolling down an incline, which then drops into a hopper. The hopper sets off an alert and releases mice that, as soon as they leave their cage, lifts allows this lever to lift that then drops a ton of rocks on whoever just set off the tripwire or whatnot, something like that.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's a real good skill. I also thought about how wedding dresses and traps would be in the same event. There's a tradition of like putting the bride and the groom like surrounded by groups of people, and they have to fight their way to each other. I think there could be a trap-based version of this. Like you have to run the gauntlet to get to each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we're good at shotgun weddings.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you only know each other like a month and you want to get married? Sure, you have my blessing if you do the trap run. Yeah.
See, I was thinking the way that they coincide is you've done the wedding, and then at the reception afterwards, you play trap music that people dance to. You just get clicky electronic music
Oh,
going down.
yeah. So, like, each song is like a series of noises that just set off. Okay.
No, there's a genre of electronic music called trap,
Mhm.
like clicky. Yeah, it's good. I mean, I don't like it.
But it's good.
For Future Bass, which is known to be the happy version of trap. I don't know where I'm going with this.
You're going into a cave.
Yeah,
That's where you're going.
yeah,
We're
let's go
good
to
segues.
the cave.
Yeah. So, I think the question was, where do you meet these adventurers?
Oh yeah.
Um,
And I guess the
At a
answer
wedding.
can't be a tavern, right? Because that
I
would
mean,
be
you can,
wrong.
but we have mentioned a wedding a lot.
Mhm.
So, before you leave, uh, one of Gervona's grandchildren are getting married as a sort of like a small summer event uh, before the waters shift. And oh, that's another thing. The waters shift from like they raise and lower over the course of like a couple of years, 3 to 5 years, and then like the power shifts to like a different fish person town down the way. So communicating and working together over those years is important.
Mhm.
But some mayors have forgotten. Yes.
They don't
And
understand the special relationship with the Murlocs. Important.
yeah. And I think your grandchild Barley is a dryad. Your grandchild Barley
Yes.
dryad. She's getting married to another dryad. Like she converted their religion to become a dryad to marry.
Mhm.
Um, and it's just a little small thing. Uh,
Mhm.
they're gonna get planted on a little floating rock and like sent down river for their honeymoon and then come back. Um,
Absolutely.
and that's where you said to meet you because it's a
Mhm.
casual thing. You're very busy. You have all these things to do. You want to make sure you got that done, and then you wanted to head out right after the wedding,
Mhm.
just so you don't waste any time. Because in another few months, there's another thing you have to do. So
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah. You're very busy,
Mhm.
and
So they've gotten strapped to the rock and thrown down into the waterfall, and they're off to see the wizard.
I was thinking like a gentle. You're like, nope, tie him to the rock and throw him into the water. Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
happens.
it's a wedding and witch trial at the same time, and
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
it's
and
never a disaster.
wherever their rock lands, they'll put up roots and have a house there. It's a very old tradition. It's like moving out and going to college. It's you packed a bunch of stuff. The tradition is to pack a bunch of stuff, like the most useful stuff closest to them, and then more and more garbage, or like cloths and rocks and like wood to build their house, and whatever they arrive with. This is just the crashing event in RimWorld. Some of your stuff's going to get destroyed, but you should have your most important stuff right next to you. Um, and wherever they land,
Still less destructive than fire weddings.
yes,
And
yeah,
it's
Because
the
veils
trap itself
and
because
yeah.
we know that witches will only marry each other,
yeah,
and
yep.
we just
You
have
can.
to wait for them to get together, and then we strap them to a rock, throw them down the water.
You're like, so as long as you identify one witch, you can get another witch if you wait long enough.
You get
I don't
you
know if this town is worth saving.
with one stone.
Two witches with one stone. That's why they have that phrase. Two bush witches with one stone. That's Anyways, you're at this wedding. You've just launched them off into the waterfall, surrounded in a cocoon of wedding gifts. Meatybones. You make a joke and it becomes true. um, And it's sort of like people are like tidying up and like getting leftovers and saying, oh, what a beautiful ceremony that is, and kind of like hedging bets on whether they're going to have enough materials to build like an outshed so they can visit later, and where in the curve of the river they think they'll land. Um, and you are approached by what you think at first is 2 figures, and then you realize it's 3 figures, but the big one has like and you thought they had a big pack. There's like a head sticking out of it, and it's like just somebody that's like clinging onto them, that they're just sort of like carrying.
Yeah.
Like a pack of a pack with a person with a pack. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Grabbing onto the feet. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that Mad Max duo that had?
I
That
know
was
the
like
one.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was not the original. It was
the Thunderdome one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I knew it before
Master
you
Blaster,
said
something like
Master
that.
Blaster.
Okay.
Yeah. I also thinking of the brain in the chest. Krang? I think it's Krang, of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles enemy, of like the big bald guy with the brain in his stomach. Yeah. Which I'm now realizing is a Dalek. Anyway.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah. Brain squids. What are you gonna do? They're everywhere. Yeah. So.
Especially when they can install themselves into human-like android.
Especially then. Especially 100% then.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just mark that up. Just doing a little tidying up. Gotta make sure I change things over from D&D rules to Meatybones rules, which is just stripping off all the numbers. I don't like those numbers.
It's true.
So my wedding gift is an emergency flotation device. It like I have a little note on the box. Only open in drowning emergency, and it's one of those things where if you pull the ribbon and the whole thing
like it's a certain number of layers in. It's not cheating. It's still a gift, and they still have to activate it themselves. But like if a certain level gets down, they could do that, and they just poof up, and then all their stuff is saved. What? Nope, your name isn't Juniper. It's Gervona. Gervona, what is your gift?
My gift goes backwards. I made that dress for free.
Nice.
That's my gift.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's hard to make a dress that will blend into a tree, like magically and aesthetically.
Yeah. There's like little like emerald looking crystals like that are all like tiny and like in like this sort of looks like a branch pattern across the back.
Nice.
Like sort of leading down to like the straps on the back. Yeah.
Cool. Excellent. What a beautiful gift. What a beautiful, thoughtful gift.
Yeah.
I'm just making a note here. I have to write down some notes every once in a while. So
I should just add that it's a thoughtful gift for one that doesn't save anybody from drowning. Give that caveat, but then certainly very thoughtful.
Yeah. Trees can't drown anyways.
Yeah. We all have our job. We all have our job. We all have our job. We all have our job.
Yeah. Did you say that cat like, it's probably not going to save you from drowning, as you handed the gift over?
Exactly.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Save. So the figures that approach you is a rather tall, like thin, but like elf thin, so it's okay. Looking figure with like cheekbones. You could cut a wedding dress on. Like a mop of side hair, so it's over like one eye a little bit. And then you have this like massive hulk of a person, 8 feet tall. Maybe they could be slouching, in like full like plate mail that goes up to here, bald head, just like goes down, giant sword on their back. But you can't see the sword because also on their back is like a little person with like wiry tufts of hair sticking out from like a battered aviator's helmet with like big goggles on, a little tiny puff, little puff. And they're carrying a back that's as big as like two of them at least, and with all sorts of jangly things hanging off of it.
Yeah.
You are exactly what I like to see between myself and horrible dungeon critters.
I am also impressed.
Sorry.
Although, you know, halflings was something to prove, also good.
I think the voice in the back's like, I don't got nothing to prove to nobody. I'm good at my job.
Okay, fair enough. We'll see.
That's what I'm looking for.
My job is whatever you're paying me for. And then the blonde.
Colonel, how much are we paying them?
Like, and the leg's like, yes, I would like to know that as well.
Oh, and then remind them of the amount as well. Yep.
It was unclear. It simply said something, something treasure, something, something dangerous crystal cave, something, something, something.
Okay, well, we have a variable in this equation, which is how much treasure we bring back. I think you will get. Let's make it a fraction of that split all between us, and we will give you some money upfront that is fixed. Colonel, what was that amount?
I don't know. It's very generous.
And the swarmy half elf's like, perhaps introduction should be in order. I am Oleg. This is Gib, pointing to the giant mountain of a man. And Gib just like nods a bit, but like their head just moves.
They don't have like a room. Yeah.
And this is Neoville. Neoville's like, hey, yeah, that's me. You probably heard of me. And they like adjust their goggles.
Yes, world famous.
Yeah. Any day now.
Wow.
Which I would put world famous any day now.
Yes.
Yeah.
This venture will definitely get you farther down that path. Or dead. One of those.
Okay, Colonel, don't answer my question. I think we rounded up to 100 gold.
I don't know. Had we decided? Had we figured that out?
I mean,
it's abstracted, right?
This is our own fantasy world, so I think we can say that.
You both have good shops, you know.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. And Oleg kind of looks over.
I think there are, in terms of payment, there are options. You can either, take like 50 gold up front, or a share of the treasure, or like a larger amount once you get back, but you have to actually make it back, or there's like various derivatives based off of the appreciation or depreciation of the various shops during the time that we're gone, and yeah.
And so I think as you're going, Oleg just like watches, and like Nevil's like making little notes, like listening to you, and Oleg turns to Javona and's like, half the treasure goes to us. We'll split it 3 ways. That seems pretty fair. You two get your half, we get ours. And we'll take the 100 gold as a worst case scenario. And since we have our own supplies, we'll allow you to pay us at the end of the job. And this
that actually wasn't
protection?
Yes, it was protection. That actually wasn't the
wasn't
No.
any of the options that we mentioned.
That um, that wasn't how Girona thought it was going to be split. This is actually a more favorable deal because we were thinking we were going to split it 5 ways,
Yeah.
just like one for each of us. But we get our own half, so
Yeah. I
it's
mean,
nice. Yeah.
would you think that was strange?
I think
Or do you not know enough? Because you're
Girona
learning
does,
this
but
thing?
she's like a little.
Yeah, because
She's
you
well,
make deals, so
yeah, that's true.
yeah.
But Girona's like maybe thinking that she's not risking her life as much because she's hiring other people to be in the way of that.
Mhm.
So she's like, well, everybody should get like she thinks that's like actually a like kind of a bold share to
Mhm.
ask. Like
Yeah.
she almost thinks it like should maybe be like we get our own fifth and then they get the rest or whatever.
Oh, sure. So they're just
But
yeah. Oleg is just
but
like
no, we'll go with this way. I mean,
Exactly.
it's
That's all
I,
in Drabona's own mind.
yeah.
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 I don't know why you wouldn't want to buy a couple of derivatives to hedge against worst case scenario, other than there's the 100 gold worst case scenario. But I mean that's a little bit straightforward, I would think. But if that's the way you want it, then who are we to complain as your employers?
And Oleg, it's like Neil's like, yeah, derivatives is like, I gotta get into this thing. I got side sales. You're teaching them how to be a con man, or teaching them how. Yeah, I think everyone is pretty like armor halfling.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, and Oleg holds out their hand to shake yours. Then we have an arrangement. Excellent.
I always curdle up to shake the hand.
Yeah, they shake your hand too. Um, yes, they shake hands. It's lovely. I think. Let me see. Let me see if you guys can see this character sheet, and then make it so you can't see this character sheet. Just gonna write that down. Just gonna. All right. Nope, that's not what I wanted. That's the opposite of what I wanted. Okay. So, I have a question. Can you see the helpers' stats and stuff, or can you just see their bio page?
Now we can just see the bio.
All right, excellent. Now I can put down secrets. So I don't forget them. Brilliant. Do 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 do. Bum, 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 bum. You've made a deal. You've made an accord, and you are going to set out into the cave soon after this. But we're going to talk about supplies, just because I realize we haven't gone over the rules, because we're sort of playing back. Meatybones is a high improv genre slottable quick start RPG. And for each genre, there are 4 things that you need to know about your characters that you decide at the beginning to sort of guide your thing in Meatybones high fantasy. It is your. Could you guys do this? Because I don't have the thing up, and I had Discord closed.
You pick a weapon, you pick a magical item, you pick a magical spell or ability, and you pick a potion.
Yeah,
Those are 4 things.
absolutely. And you have done that. I don't do that for NPCs because that's a lot of work to sort of just play them offhand.
Yeah.
And then you talk about what kind of world you want to play in, what kind of things you would like to see. I think is a new thing that I put in since October, like naming, because it's generally built for one shots because it burns fast, but it can be used for your entire campaigns if you would like. Just there is a thing called there's a plot point, which once during a session, every player has the ability to change a thing or say this happens. It's like they get to be GM for like a sentence or two. And it's like the Deus Ex Machina situation, or it can just be like, oh, I've run out of supplies, but I need another thing. So I'm using my point to do that. And speaking of supplies, you have normally in one shot, you have 3 uses of a supplies kit or a backpack, which means you have 3 physical items. And they can be like a hang glider or a spider or, an extra friend. Just something that makes sense for your character to have. Like if you're a tinker, it can be tools or a tiny robot or something like that. But it shouldn't be something like, oh, a holy book of Evandra. If you haven't played to the fact that you are a worshiper of hers.
Mhm.
Yeah. So just as long as it makes sense for your character. The rolls go like this. If it's 10 or above, you succeed. If it's like for the base DC, if it's 5 above that, it's a great success. If it's 10 above that, it's a wonder success. You can fail. You can have big failure, or you can be just terrible. Like there's that Dungeon World failure thing.
Mhm.
Yeah. Any of the Powered by the Apocalypse games are kind of similar. Yeah, and it's that, and you each pick 3 skills from the D&D skills list, and then you pick 2 flavor text skills, which you have advantage on your rolls for. And could you two tell me your flavor text skills again? Just Adam, since you're alphabetically in the front.
I believe I'm not even on the page, but I think my 2 were web weaving and crystallurgy.
Yes. And web weaving can apply to actual webs or the interconnectivity between people. So the way you name them, make sure like it's not too powerful, like it's not OP. Talk about what you can use it for, but have it named in a way that you can apply to different situations. And then Brad, what were your 2?
Well, okay. One of them was "It's a trap."
which is great.
Yes.
I love. Perfect
the
name.
whole Akbar thing. I don't know what the other one was. It doesn't seem to be down here.
Your other one was Is that on your character sheet?
Well, I would have imagined that the other one
Oh,
would have
yeah,
been
you
right
don't have
under
another
as a
one.
trap. Maybe I don't know if
Maybe we
didn't see
decided later since we were like we hadn't played yet. So what would be another flavor text skill that you would like to have? Also, you only have 2 skills marked in your Also, yeah, it may have been like
Was it just an earlier version where there's
it could have
less
been an earlier
stuff?
version. Yeah. So make sure you both have 3 skills checked, not just 2.
Okay.
Yeah, it could have been 2 skills and 1 flavor text when we did that game. So make sure. I think that might have been what it was, because some folks were like, I can't think of things that are creative like that. I'm like, well, I tried to appease folks, and then I realized it was just cutting back on the things that people could do. And you play a game to sort of test yourself and push those boundaries and think creatively. So I added 2. So make sure you have 3 skills and 2 flavor text skills.
I am all good.
Down. All right, excellent.
Okay. So
my 3 regular skills are animal handling because I have spiders that need handling.
Yes.
Excellent. Regularly.
Yeah. One of them is performance, which I take to be acting grandmotherly, which is why I thought that would be good.
Yeah.
And sleight of hand because I am sewing and working with my hands.
Yeah.
A lot of the time. But that's tricky.
Yeah.
Don't poke yourself, friends.
Exactly. It's about dexterity and working with details. Beautiful. All right. Brad, so what would be your...
Okay. So the ones I had before were deception and perception. I guess I'm going to add arcana.
Okay.
And then for the flavor skill, I think just like uh, I wanted to say like crotchetiness. I don't know how
Hmm.
that would be helpful, uh,
Hmm.
but
You could put bah humbug, where you're less likely to believe folks you've just met or folks who are too cheery or too good of a deal. You could make that could make it so you're good at um, like eyeing up the cost of things, like an appraisal roll, because Scrooge was good at money,
Hmm.
but based in a way that it is like you want to weaponize your crotchetiness.
well,
Hmm.
okay. So it's supposed to have like it's supposed to be like a double-edged sword, right? Or just like vague that it could apply to
It's supposed
various
to be
situations.
vague so it can apply to different things. It's not supposed to hurt you.
Okay.
Like I can. I can call on that to say, oh, you have the skill and you've played this way, so you wouldn't notice this thing, or you would notice this thing in a wrong way. But it's you're not supposed to. It's not like, oh, it's supposed to hurt and help me. It's just a thing that you're good at, a thing that only you. It's like what makes a hero a hero. It's the thing that's specially yours. Yeah. So
Um,
you think about that. I'll be right back. I have my ears in, but
okay. Uh, well, I just like the word crotchety. Um, uh,
Curmudgeonly is another
yeah,
good one.
yeah. Uh, maybe like crotchety barbs. It's like Curdle is good at like uh, not just like these little uh, insults or admission of something horrible, but getting away with it. It's like, oh, he's just set in his ways.
Yeah.
It's fine that he's proposing that we all die first. Uh,
Even Gerona knows excuses you.
uh,
also, I mean, if you think about the word specifically, crotchety could just mean because you're so small, you kind of look at things a different way.
Hmm.
sure.
Crotchety.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow.
it's about interpreting
Nicely
the word
done.
in a unique
yeah.
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
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 Sometimes. Try to bring
And
apples to their hands. Yeah.
and in that case, you may want to leave off the word barbs.
but that's part of what makes it so amusing.
Look, I don't know what kobolds have going on down there, and it could be accurate, but
Okay. I will get rid of barbs because but maybe that's too subjective. Suggestive.
We need more objectivity.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
yeah. Oh goodness, fantastic! I love this game. Um, okay, I think we're good to go. Um, so I started talking about supplies, and which led me to the rules, and I'm glad it
Mhm.
did because now we know that. um, also, for your weapons, mark off proficiency. Um,
Okay, that was already marked.
Sparkling.
yeah, like you should not have that checked.
Oh, I see. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. Because we get advantage, we don't get the plus two,
Yeah,
correct?
well,
Or
you
do
do
you for
for
the
your skills.
skills?
You do for your skills because I'm keeping that, but I want to make sure that your proficiency isn't altered too strongly because I was adding the weapons to the helpers list, and I noticed there was like a +6 on one, and I was like,
Whoa!
that's yeah, that's a bit.
How did that even happen?
I have a
Uh,
question. How do
it
I
was a yeah.
how do I do this?
There's a little gear next to like your. It's got your item slot, and it's got a gear. You kind of like hover over it with your mouse. A little gear pops up, and you click that, and it should give you a drop down menu.
Okay.
Got it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. And then unclick proficiency. The proficiency. So I'm gonna go to your character sheet real quick.
Yeah. Which section is this in?
Oh, okay. So
It
in
was
the
your
middle
weapon.
row,
You don't have a weapon.
I do
Yes.
have a broom. That is my weapon from the 4
Oh,
things.
you changed you went and changed the thing. Don't, no,
Okay.
okay. So in the I'm sorry, middle column.
There.
Oh, you got it. Okay.
Yeah. Broom.
So it's
Yeah.
under attacks. Okay, cool.
Yeah, attacks and spellcaster.
Thank you.
Because it's your weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me actually see if. No, just a broom of flying. Okay. Yeah. So you have a broom. Excellent. Excellent. Yes. Most excellent.
Yeah, Jerona doesn't really expect to do much fighting out here, but she brought what she had in her hand already.
Sure.
Just in case. Yeah.
And to the right of that, there is a thing that says like something like other resources, and I'm going to put down 3 because that is like your supplies.
Okay.
But since you did mention about, I think the last game you talked about going out and like getting supplies and stuff, each of you should name 2 things that you have that aren't part of your 3 supplies that can't change, like 2 certainties that you will have for this thing, and put that down in that space. What are 2 things that you would get knowing you're going into the crystal caves? The things you know about the caves is that it shifts quickly, it's dangerous to go into, it's under the water, so it can be steamy in places. It's been a long time since anyone's gone down there, though. So.
I think I'm maybe going to like bargain with someone for a journal. Like maybe I know like one of my grandkids' husband's best friends has like a journal that I can barter off of them.
Sure.
Because they went into the caves before, and they have a journal of just their own personal notes. And I feel like that's like the only thing that can help you when if the caves shift. Then you can't make maps of it.
Okay.
You can only like.
So you want to get a journal of previous experiences at the cave.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
And one of my spiders.
And one of your spiders. Got it. So add cave journal and spiders to your inventory, which is your item down here. Boop.
Cave journal. Spider.
And what kind of spider is it? Or we can talk about that later. You can just say spider right now.
Yeah.
As long as it's no bigger than you.
I think it's.
Otherwise, it'd be carrying you into the caves.
Yeah, I don't think it can support my weight. It's. I did bring the biggest one, so it's like. Yeah.
Yeah, we both went like this.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a poisonous spider.
Okay. She put down poisonous as well.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
You've given it a trait. It's not such a journal. It's a cave journal. It's not just a spider. It's a poisonous spider. Yeah. All right. So you have 2 things and 3 supplies. Curdle, what are your 2 things that you're getting to take with you?
I would like self-tying rope. Sure, self-tying rope.
Magical rope?
Okay.
Or is it just like Velcro, like it's sticky, like you can loop it around and it'll snap to itself? Is it a mechanical thing or is it a magical thing?
I think it's It's mechanical. Okay, so let me refine this a bit.
Okay.
Uh, it's uh, it's a mechanical thing that has uh, that you can pull. Is just sort of a box that you can pull rope out of one end, or a or like just like tiny thread. But it's for like tying things in, but it's like handy dandy. I don't
Okay, that
know.
seems like you're
Sorry.
trying to get more than one thing out of the
Okay.
things. If you
I
want
don't.
rope that can snap itself around something if you throw it, or magical rope that you can, like, say, go tie yourself to that thing, you can have something like that. But having something that gives you more than one kind of thing is sort of like using your supplies.
Sure.
So try to just
Okay.
squish it down.
Um,
And it can be a box that you say, oh, go tie yourself to that thing, and it, like, little legs sprout out and it like wraps itself around. Like that could be how it plays out, but up to you.
okay. Uh, let's.
You have two things to choose from, so
Yeah. Okay. Uh, rather than trying to make it multiple things, um, let's just call it grappling chain. Like it's uh, rather than rope, it's chain because that's slightly more
so
mechanical, and it's got a grappling hook on the end. And
sure, grappling chain,
okay,
perfect.
and then uh, I had thought of the second thing, and then I forgot.
Oh no.
Um, Damn it. Um, hmm. I don't know. It's the thing with the stuff. Uh,
Good thing with the stuff. Well, if you think about it later, you have three uses of your supplies, so you can use it then.
yeah, yeah. God, I had something. It was
Yeah, it's
fine. It
like you
was
had something
simple,
real
but
good.
no, not so much. And okay. One thing that occurred is just like a contract that like screws everybody at the end. But I don't really want to do that. So
So think about it this way: you're a tinkerer, you make traps, you're going into a cave that you know is dangerous with people that you've hired and a friend. It's a friend of me. Um, and you have to, your goal is to retrieve these glowing crystals and
oh,
to
okay.
figure out why the crystals on the surface aren't providing as much power as they used to, why people are having to go deeper and deeper to get more useful things. So that's what
Okay.
you're sort of planning towards.
Okay. Uh, I think the second thing is a horrifying medical kit.
Okay. um that's still, that's a lot of things in one thing.
Oh no, I was just thinking of it just it just like
Like the
lets you apply
tools.
bandages, or it just does uh, uh, healing sort of stuff, but it's a medical kit and
Okay.
horrifying in that it's like, oh,
Okay.
time to break out the amputation saw, but don't worry, we
Okay,
uh,
so I will let you have part of that. You can either have
okay,
the tools, or you can have like healing stuff and bandages. You can't have like stuff within stuff. You have to have
sure.
like a thing, a small, or not single purpose, but I don't want you to have another supplies kit, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah. And that is definitely not what I'm going for here. It's just
Okay.
like uh,
So would you like the bandages and the healing
it's just
salve,
a
or would you like the tools to say you have,
um,
or is it like a band-aid kit with like anti-burn ointment?
it's like a band-aid kit. It's just I just want it to be flavored as like
Sure, we
scary.
can
That's
flavor it, but
all.
I just want to make sure that it's not. You know what I'm saying, right? Like I your thing that you're choosing now isn't another three supplies
Sure,
thing. Like
absolutely.
it'll have one use to it
Okay.
when you use it, but you can use anything that's in a terrifying medical supplies kit, but you get to use it one time just to make sure it's not
Okay.
too powerful.
I like that. That's really easy to
Yeah,
wrap your head
yeah,
around. Then you can have the big
yeah. You can have
endless
tools or
medical
things,
thing. But
whatever, but you get one use out of it.
I like that. That's
Okay. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
call it a scary healing potion to denote that it's one use. But it'll probably be like in a big syringe,
Okay,
something
so
like
you're
that.
not going to go for the kit. You're going to go for a big syringe.
Yeah. Well, I
Okay.
didn't want to say kit because yeah, I don't want to like give the impression of multiple uses. It's one
Sure.
use. But
Okay. All right. However
it's
you can
like
understand it
really
best too. Like that also matters. Like looking
yeah.
back on your things and saying, "What was this again?" Yeah.
I like it.
Okay. All right. So you're good?
yes,
We're good?
yes.
Okay. Excellent. So it's I would say early afternoon. You probably had a morning wedding slash witch toss. Um uh,
Uh,
because the tides are like softer than
mhm.
yeah.
Did we get ready to go by eating at the reception? We had like wedding soup.
Yeah. Like really robust
Yeah,
foods.
yeah. Hmm.
Um, yeah, I will say since you're there, you also have like one pack of wedding leftovers.
Ooh,
I will
yes.
give you that. Which also,
Tupperware.
yeah, like I was like a cloth, but then like the towels in those hotels, it's like an animal. Yeah,
Yeah,
and just got a bunch of food inside of it. Yeah,
Tupperware of hearty wedding soup. Yes.
and that can be whichever task. So I restarted my computer. I got all these like background things. I'm like, what is
Oh
going
no,
on?
not good.
It's all right. Just gonna close some stuff up. Yeah, and you head off. You stop by your houses to change, and then you head towards the known entrance um, of of the cave system with your
Hmm.
three helpers in tow.
Hmm.
And it's much like the picture, uh, crashing waterfalls.
For some reason, I want to say rather than like hearty wedding soup, just like a piece of wedding cake that's like a corner that has like that's got like a ton of
All the
frosting.
frosting.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's definitely like there was this big like seven-tiered wedding cake and it had like grasses and branches and like the seasons changing as it went up the thing. And you took one of the bottom one that just has like a frosting bush on it, like a
Yeah.
little sugar birds.
Hmm.
Um
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. So you have that wrapped up.
This is vivid cake imagery. You only get part of the thing. It's like
Yeah.
not even a whole bush. It's like
Yeah.
person one
Sliced in
side and then
half.
cross section. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's white on the inside because they airbrushed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's all like smeared.
Look, it's
Yeah.
better that they airbrushed it than that they put disgusting, like horribly dye flavored
Mm.
frosting on it.
I mean, I can
Too
look.
bitter.
I'm
Don't
pretty
like
sure
it.
my disgusting dye pack is over there somewhere. With
Yeah.
it's like my 45 different.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I also have my sprinkles in there, so I only have like 18 different dyes.
Yeah.
It's it's much different from my glitter case, which has over 60. Yeah. So you make your way to. I need them. I don't have enough, even as it is. Um, you make your way to the sort of like the parted waterfall that you can walk under and enter the caves. And there's some people like working there, like it's not like a closed off system, but you have to go further down or further up as you are sort of like at the crashing of a waterfall, floating city, lands beyond.
So how deep do we have to get into these caves before they start to get like kind of spooky and scary? Like, is it like there's bats right at the mouth of the
One
cave?
scene. So the first scene is like people working, like pulling out like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, like big things of like actual pre-cut gemstones for some reason that you can mine. They don't just look like random rocks because the imagery has to be flashy.
Yeah.
And like pulling stuff out. And there's like a bunch of little kids like outside in little like two big hats, like dust and overalls, like having a grand old time, like dusting off rocks and like running around. Like they're not forced to work there. It's like the daycare center of the work. They're in a small ravine that you can't quite get out of.
No, distract them from when we're tying people to rocks and throwing them off the waterfall.
There's some things kids shouldn't see yet.
Kids are just gonna get all that distracted.
And as you walk by, sort of like passing by, like one of the kids has dug a hole and have tied like little straw people to a rock. They're like, I now pronounce you married, and they throw it off into the hole. Like look down, like, oh no, they lost their cooking stuff, and like, no, they didn't. It's like, yes, they did. Yeah, so they're just arguing as you walk by because kids know more than you think they know. Yeah, absolutely. What a horrible tradition. Yeah, but they only throw off the dryad witches off the waterfall. Like that's how you know a witch is a witch, if they're part tree. I think they're like, it cuts back to the wedding, like actual like black hat, like craggly, like warty faces, like eating some cake, being like just shaking their heads.
When you said how do you know if they're a witch because they're part tree, reminds me of this thing I saw on the internet where it's like this thing where it's like, tell me how many of these you are, and it's like this newspaper clipping of like very fundamentalist Christians saying that if you're doing these like things, you're the devil. But yoga, astrology,
veganism,
yeah, and then
dancing.
One of them was lycanthropy, which I take to being a werewolf, and I'm thinking, look, being a werewolf doesn't invite demons. You already have the demons in you if you're a werewolf.
Too late.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big, you get extra points for that one. It's like you tallied them up at the end, you're like, oh, I'm under 70, so I'm not lost. I need to get within purgatory ranges. So you pass these kids having fun in their kitty pit. You head past some workers, sort of heading down the known paths. Yeah.
As we pass the kids, I'm all. So I take it that your slacker parents are okay with you hanging out near the dangerous mine.
One of the kids looks up and they're like, ah, kobold! They start crying.
You grew up here and you've never seen a kobold.
The children are told to stay away from your shop. It's full of death traps.
Well, sure, but I can still complain.
Literal death traps. Okay, all right.
Kids these days, they
need to toughen up.
They're raised in the safe bubble, except when they're encouraged to go play near wandering monsters. Crazy. People have no sense.
Yeah, as you walk past the now whining, like bawling child that's very scared. Kids can cry on a drop of a kobold. So you make your way down into these cave systems, passing people that like waving hi to some and like just getting like an upward nod. They've been told what you're here to do. It's been a couple of days. since that you had to tie up loose ends, get everything the mayor said down in writing. Just very like it went back and forth between your lawyers a few times, and by your lawyers I mean you and their lawyers. Yeah, and yeah, you head into the caves and you travel for about maybe 45 minutes. You know the shorter cuts, and you all kind of like pile into this rickety iron carriage to like lower you down to some old parts of the mines where you know there are clearer pathways. Pathways down, and as the I think Gib would be the one like their big armor. Neville's like, so I mean, we know we're supposed to get crystals and stuff, but like, like, have you been down? I've never been underground so much. I try to, not be where a giant spider can grab me up and kill me. Like, what kind of stuff are we supposed to be looking for?
Well, the thing about being deep underground is that a giant spider could grab you up at any time. You just have to be ready.
Yeah. So we're looking for spiders? No, what?
No, we're looking for crystals. We're just dodging spiders.
Like this, and he like reaches through the grate and like pulls his hand back really quick and has like a dull crystal like in his hand. Like this one.
Well, like that, only shiny.
Like pulls his hand out and he like pulls his tiny. Like this one.
That's a good
It's like
start.
like glowing softly, but you need like a chunk at least, and also maybe to figure out like why the ones on the surface aren't working as well.
Like this, or hold on, let me just open the secret compartment.
Well, let me where are all my crystals?
Like this.
Wait, here's some.
Okay.
That's a good crystal.
Yeah.
This one's
like this.
I feel...
all of these.
Like quartz.
Oh.
Oh dang, that's a plate.
It's a little plate. Guess what I make? I make crystals. That's what I do.
I feel remiss.
Like this.
Yes, and enough. I think like that's what they're doing. They're pulling different things out of the walls like as they travel down, and Oleg is just like leaning on the rail, just looking over. Yeah. Yeah.
It's translucent.
Exactly. It's a round crystal that's hollow inside. Very smooth edges. Yeah, so as you're going down, Neville is trying to figure out what exactly they're looking for. Like what kind of signs are you looking for? What pathways or something?
So the crystals that we're looking for, I imagine I would know have like a particular like the rocks around them tend to like look a certain way because there's like a different kind of mineral around them that's like foundational to creating the crystals that we're looking for.
Mm-hmm. So what do those rocks look like?
Well, what do the power crystals that we're looking for look like? I imagine like they have to like glow a very bright color because that's how we tell
like you tell me what they look. This is part of Meatybones. Is you telling me things too.
Mm-hmm.
So since you know crystals, since you work with them regularly with your wedding dresses, I think you even know like some crystals resonate with emotional frequencies. So you're like, if you're very happy, it's sort of like you put like this beading on the back of a bride's dress to like see how happy they are or not. If things are going well, if they're stressed. So what the crystals that I think the only thing we've established is that they glow, and you need big pieces of them. And
you're looking for like pure white light, and the brighter the better, because the brighter is the more the less used they are. And what you don't want is to find ones that are slightly blue or slightly purple, because that's actually a different kind of crystal entirely, and it's
Mhm.
super explosive and volatile.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah.
and like being in the dark, it's kind of hard to tell between like slightly tinted blue ones
Mhm.
and pure white.
Sure. And what do the rocks around them look like? Since you said the rocks around them look different, so we can sort of like look for those rocks as well, and then maybe dig a bit.
Mm-hmm. Uh,
How are they different?
Maybe
I
the.
think
Oh, go ahead.
no, you go ahead
Oh, okay. I was
because
thinking
you have
that
more of
maybe
an
the
idea
the
than
rocks around them tend to have this like slightly melted look to them.
Oh,
I like that. That's
Okay.
about what I was going for.
yeah, slightly melted look.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So are they
Because
colored the same as the rocks around them? They just have that textural difference?
uh
Or are
Sometimes,
they
if there's like a patch of a different mineral, the mineral will actually like respond to the heat and change composition. So
okay?
it'll actually like if you get it around like a certain type of quartz, it'll turn like bright, vivid blue instead.
Sure.
But if it's just rock, then the rock just uh, kind of turns into like volcanic glass.
Okay. So having different crystals or minerals around this good light can shift the light because it reacts to it.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Which makes discerning whether the explosive one is hard in case someone's like, "Oh, I forgot I had this piece of amethyst on me," and you're like, "Well, this the whole time we thought we had a bad crystal, but this whole patch was good," or vice versa.
Exactly.
All right. Cool. Fantastic. Yeah.
oh,
So
okay.
you mentioned that as you're dropping. Okay, and if anybody in chat has some interesting things that they might want to see or ideas, I know there's a bit of a delay, um, but feel free to suggest it. We may take it up if it's not too far out of bounds. I will try to keep my eyes to the screen every
Well,
once in a while.
actually, Spook is here.
Spook's here. Is
Yeah.
that
Um,
Waffle Bean Prime?
yes.
Nice.
Um, so
Yay!
Spook is spook.
yay! I mean, some chaos, but yay!
Yeah.
Mhm.
Uh, let me.
Oh, and going back to the conversation where Neville is his name?
Neoville.
Neoville is getting freaked out about the spiders.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, he wasn't as freaked out until one of you started talking about how, oh yeah, they're definitely spiders and they're going to snatch you up unless you're prepared.
mhm,
Getting more and more worried.
mhm. Well, I'm like, if we find spiders, that's the part where you back up and I go in front because I work with spiders all of the time, and I think I'm the best qualified to talk to them. You'll have nothing to worry
Sure.
about.
I mean, if one tries to snatch me up, I don't think I'm going to be talking to it a lot. I'm just gonna be honest.
Mm.
And you hired me as a protection. I mean, that's what I'm here for. Stand between you and danger.
Mhm.
Like their massive pack in their very small form.
At the same time, if you're getting snatched up, then I have no one to protect me.
Oh, yeah, that's good. That's
Anything
good.
other than spiders, though, I want you standing nearby and in front of me
Absolutely.
consistently.
Sure thing, boss.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Oh, what is it? Mitsuha appears. We did talk about putting magical
No.
girls in, like just shoehorning them in a little while ago before the show started.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That would be
So
kind of funny.
Do we want
you
to
see a
do
vision.
a play storm where there's what two experienced council members and one magical girl?
We'll see. We'll see
Yeah.
for this game. So as you sort of talk this over, uh, the metal carriage you're in like clatters to the ground and settles, and Gibbs like, here. And like they open the little thing, and they pick up Neoville. Like they start to walk off and begin to trip on something, and they just pick him up and like put him over their shoulder, so they're like back on their back.
Mhm.
And Neoville like adjust their glasses because it's completely dark down here. This is a place that miners no longer go.
Mhm.
And I think Oleg, since you have helpers, you can use them as a. They kind of like snap their fingers, and a little light appears in front of them, and begins to like float forward, so it like illuminates this place in a very soft green light.
Mhm.
And
Just like night vision. Scary.
yeah, it's very much like night vision.
Yeah.
Like everything's still that like green scale,
Mhm.
but yeah, and it just like kind of floats in front of them a little bit. Like, all right, let's go, I suppose. So where are you going? Like, do you have an idea of where you might want to start looking for these special crystals? Because you know where some mines have been, you know where some veins have run dry, you know what stones to look for. Have you heard any rumors or know about like where a cave might be? Or the heart of the system might be, or
Mhm.
something.
That's when I try to put my journal under the green light
Mhm.
and try to parse through these notes
Sure.
as we're walking as best as I can, walking and studying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Spook, I have a question for you.
I am all ears.
Would you like to play a swarmy, slouchy, laid-back half-elf who is secretly something? A quiet armor guy who's just like kind of tough, or Neoville, the grungy New Yorker scammy guy, who is the meat shield of this campaign.
Well, my New York accent is let's call it in progress.
Sure.
So I'll probably either I'll take the aloof half elf, please.
All right, absolutely. I will. You have. I will give you access. Mitsuha. And now you can see what they secretly are.
And I'm looking in the Crystal Council thread, is that right?
Yes, they are the helpers. All three of them are on the same sheet. Oleg is your name, and you have like kind of like it's not emo hair, but kind of like your hair, except it was pushed more to the side. Like your hair plus my hair. That's what it is.
Cool.
Yeah, and your weapon is the epi, and it's definitely not cursed. It's 100% uncursed. Nobody died getting this. Yes. In case you're wondering, it's fine. It's totally cursed.
No curses here.
Yeah.
100% completely uncursed for sure, guaranteed.
It's actually blessed. It's like the opposite of cursed.
Yes. Blessed by a good God who's friendly. Yeah, so
What was the name again?
Oleg,
Oleg. Okay.
Olig.
IG.
Yep.
Okay.
And if you wanted, you could mark down some skills and put down some extra stuff in your proficiency. And then I'll be clicking on your thing for the other two, but that's just the weapons and stuff. Yeah. So we are one up already. We've gotten and so many people.
Mhm.
So you're in the bottom of this cave, an old mine system. That you have and Oleg, you can do a little bit of magic. So yeah, and you're there. Where would you like to go? What would you like to?
So then am I there with these other two, and we're on a mission to investigate some crystals that are malfunctioning? Is that
Yes, yeah,
the correct
You,
understanding?
Oleg, Gibbon, Neoville, were hired by Gervona, who is a drow wedding dressmaker and part of the council, and Curdle, who is a kobold trap maker shop owner, also part of the council. Were convinced to lead this ragtag group. Oh, it's not ragtag; they're professionals.
Yes.
You, Gib, and Neoville have traveled for a while together, and you're like the adventurers. And the crystals aren't lasting as long, so they think there might be something wrong with them. And also they're harder to find good crystals near the surface, like where they were mining. They're just not working as long as they are, and they needed to kind of like keep buildings afloat and keep the airships going. Yeah. Otherwise, they're just regular islands, and what's fun about that? So, yeah.
Mhm.
Or
And we need energies to power the spires that the airships can anchor to.
Yes.
And the airships are the only way to get in and out of here because we don't have like.
Unless you get tied to a rock and thrown into a waterfall.
Yeah.
There was a thing earlier. Did you see the waterfall wedding ritual spook?
No, I think I missed that. That sounds
Okay.
great, though. I did
So-
hear of wedding cake being left over.
Yeah. Adam, since it was your
Oh yeah, you get tied to a rock and thrown off with your wedding presents, but only if you're a dryad. Because if you're a dryad, then you're a witch, and to find other witches only marry each other. You wait for them to marry, and then you throw them off of the waterfall.
But since you still care about them as people, you pack their wedding gifts around them, like the most vital ones closest to them, and then like extra lumber and extra stuff. And as they get thrown off, they'll wash up on shore downriver, and whatever supplies they have left, they will build their homestead with.
Yeah.
The metaphor is just palpable.
Yeah,
it was a beautiful ceremony. Nobody drowned.
Yes. Yeah, it's one of my favorite things.
We got the word out about giving them wedding gifts that cheat their way out of the ritual.
Yeah.
And it's like how adoption rates for pets are up. Instead of like buying like new animals, you adopt your pets now more than you.
How is that
We
related?
got the
Anyways,
word.
you're in a cave. I'll ask you later once you're done with your apple. So, you've been lowered down this carriage. You're in a cave. You can look for the crystals that have the melty rocks, or you can try to like think back of like, oh wait, this was a path we could take, or there's rumor that this is a thing, or there's this creature here that may be involved in some way. Like I have some ideas, but I wanted to see if you guys had any character ideas that you wanted to investigate first or discover.
So I'm guessing that the purple crystals with a tendency to explode generally aren't brought back to the surface.
Not in large quantities.
Okay. So I want to examine one of those with the idea that surely there must be some process that can be applied to the purple explosive rocks that will make them usable in place of the others. And wouldn't that be interesting if we were if the technology that was holding up the entire city was explosive.
Wouldn't that be interesting?
Magical, you could even call it.
Yes. You know what these islands need to have rockets on them?
Yes, yes. I mean, it's one thing to have this, you know, this beautiful city, on the waterfall. But what if it had rockets strapped to it so it could tour around the world? Wouldn't that be better?
That is an interesting idea. Yeah, so I think it doesn't take you guys too long to discover a containment room that's like a solid stone door with like a small like artificial purple glowing and then like death signs and explosion signs and like basically the fantasy version of police tape across it, which is probably just like more vines and stone.
Mhm.
I'm going like the Flintstone style. Like if it's not metal, it's made of stone and vines.
Yeah.
Accurate science. Yeah,
Yeah.
but you there's a door for it, but it doesn't have a doorknob. You know that you need clearance to access these particular like dangerous veins. But I mean, it's probably only a stone door.
Well, I will. Uh, I will check out the door because it's probably a trap.
Roll it's a trap to see if it's trapped.
All right.
Because if anything says trap, I think it even says like trapped on it. But see if you can figure out what it is.
Right. Ah.
Absolutely. Not only is this door trapped, you made this trap.
It's like, oh, it's one of mine.
Yeah. You know, it's like one of your seals on the bottom. You're like,
Oh, yeah, I recognize it.
yeah. Yeah. And Evil is like taking a rubbing of the danger signs and like putting it in their notebook and like,
Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna go in this. It seems pretty sturdy. I can't see a way through.
Oh, it's child's play. You see these tines down here, kind of concealed. You turn the middle one about 2/3 of the way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And
like he's writing all this down. Yeah. Like
okay,
adjusting his big goggles.
and then you see that little bulge that looks like just a bit of stone that's like not as smoothly hewed. You push on that and hold it for about 2.5 seconds, not three, about 2.5.
Not three. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Not three.
And that
Got it.
way there shouldn't be none of the acid should be
Acid.
He like steps back,
none of that should
like bumps into Gib.
should be sprayed into your face. It should be fine.
Well, I'm little. Maybe it'll spray over my face.
That's entirely possible.
Anyways, seems like you got this. I'll stand over here.
And he just like shimmies off to the side out of sight.
And then Jervon is just behind, going like, how hard is it to let in?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Very hard.
To let
Very
what?
hard indeed.
Right.
Apparently.
To let who? Do what?
They led a beautiful life. We'll miss them.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
I suppose I am like, even though we're in this sort of cave and I imagine it's quite rocky and stuff, I've miraculously found a kind of smooth bit and I'm kind of like lounging on it as if it was the chaise longue. And
Absolutely.
I'm sort of admiring my tight leather pantaloons and
There's like an
maybe
upturned wheelbarrow that you're just like relaxing on.
yeah, exactly, like proper like Romany. I'm probably like eating a grape or something like that, like eating one grape very slowly.
Yeah. You're like it's like this big and you're like peeling the grape. Even though you don't need to peel grapes and it's ridiculous too. Welcome back.
Yeah.
So what is it difficult to do? Keep your internet connection?
Yeah.
Okay.
it's difficult to tear to like separate pages from the journal because the ink is dried together.
Yeah, they wrote it like in a hurry while
Yep.
they were in the
The
cave.
ink's all wet. They closed it, and now I'm trying to tear pages apart without ripping them.
Sure. Give me a dexterity check as you try to get a clue as to this cave system. Yeah, but
You have sleight of hand.
yeah, I think that would work too. Sleight of hand.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to do it carefully, like you get a little knife. Yeah, you managed to pry open several pages. You like loosen up, not all, of course, because you know it's in the dark. But while you're kind of like peeling open these pages, Curdle, were you going to untrap the trap?
Yes. Yes. Now, an alarm may sound, but it should be no problem as long as it doesn't attract any like wandering monsters, which
All
it
right.
probably won't.
I think Gib, like you just see here, just his eyes just go. Mm-hmm. Their eyes. I'm sorry. I'm still working on that default male gender thing. Every day's a struggle.
It's deep in the language. Yeah.
Yeah, I think with your 16, you know it. Like you got a good success. So you turn the tine, you push the rock for 2.5, not 3 seconds, and then you like, kind of like cover something up and do something else so nobody else can see it.
Yeah, that's proprietary.
Yeah.
It's part of your brand. I get it. I got my own patents. It's fine.
Yeah, and the door like kind of like cracks a little bit and then sinks into the ground. Like that was a false thing that you built into the door. So you're like, oh, maybe it's not open, so you got to push it, which would have triggered your second trap. Yeah, you're a good trap maker. You're just kind of an asshole. Yeah.
Yeah, and as it recedes into the floor, I'm like, oh, good, none of the undead mice have gotten out.
Yeah. And you look over and there's like just a little mouse skull, just like.
Well, there is some redundancy built into the system. I mean, I'm not crazy.
Yeah, and you boop, boop. You open the door and it slides open, and then there's this like purple glow, like it sees you like sideways as the door opens, and this like, and it scans in, and there's just like mounds of like bars of this crystal for some reason, and then like big barrels of it, and like a cart, and there's like some netting with it hanging precariously from the ceiling for some reason. He even knows.
Now, Curdle, you're not thinking of. Oh, never mind. Proceed. Let's see what happens to him.
Okay. Yes.
I think Neoville just like walks in, like the side of their pack, like brushing the door, like a kid in a candy store, like,
my stars and garters. Look at all this. Gib, do you see this?
and Gib's just like,
Oh wait, they got this is full of crystals. I could do so much with this. I could have my own golem army probably if I figured out how to work and make sure it wasn't too explosive to ruin the machines.
So everyone is just staying out of their party dynamic. Figure if they're professionals, this would work somehow.
Yeah.
But I've still got just pages to.
yeah, just you're like kind of like trying to peel them a little bit. Yeah, we're apart. Yeah. So what do you guys do? Neoville has sauntered in and is like has changed goggles instead of like a jeweler's eyeglasses, like picked up a tiny shard off the ground.
I'm going to need someone to push me in this wheelbarrow.
Gib nods. He like picks it up and like wheels you in, and then like he gets to the door and you like jolt a bit. And you look back and they're like their armor doesn't quite fit through the door. Like, and he tips you out of the wheelbarrow. And then he just like sets the wheelbarrow in the doorway.
Well, you tried, friend. That's what counts. I suppose it's time to get up anyway.
And then he turns out and guards the hallways because you mentioned monsters. It's just scanning the darkness.
So I'll take a sample crystal, one of the purple explosive ones.
Sure.
Take out some tools like a hammer, and I'll start tap it.
Wait.
Just so... Yes.
Is this very dangerous?
Well, of course.
Oh, I perhaps shouldn't have come in here, but
He looks,
it's okay.
and the doorway's being blocked by a big armor man and a wheelbarrow.
I have the utmost faith in you.
Oh, don't worry. I mean, if there's a chain reaction, you won't feel a thing.
And Nevo's
that's
holding up a crystal. He's like,
What? Chain what?
he's like, setting it down carefully.
Oh, this means that old fortune teller will be right.
Yeah. But you said you wouldn't feel a thing.
Exactly.
I think we killed her. That was spooky for me.
She had it coming.
Yeah, she had it coming.
Well, I mean,
You hear humming from Gib outside in the hallway.
well,
So
okay,
the-
yeah. I mean, it should be. Yeah. I was
thinking
gonna
the
say
song They Had It Coming from Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming.
Yeah. You can't quite understand what they're saying, but that noise. Yeah.
I mean, I was gonna say that it's only theoretically dangerous. I mean, if you were all cursed by a fortune teller, then we're all probably in extreme danger. But under normal circumstances, it's only a little bit dangerous, and not a big problem, because if there's an actual problem, we won't feel a thing. It'll just be, boom.
Darling. And they kind of look around. Did I just hear you say normal circumstances? Ha ha.
I know, I like to joke.
But please, as I say, I'm sure your hands will be deft and true.
I'm a professional.
Clearly.
So what are you doing to this crystal as you have a tool out?
I'm just trying to determine its properties.
Sure.
Can I help with my unwavering moral support?
How are you helping? Just by saying you're doing very well, darling. Keep it up.
Yeah, I'm letting them know that they had the power all along. That
All right.
that
Give me
friendship was the answer.
Give me a charisma check to see if you can give him a boost. Yeah, you get
Nice.
2 points towards your roll, and I want
You're
you to give me
welcome.
an investigation check. Investigation check.
All right. Hi.
Oh my.
I'm
So-
a professional.
Thanks to your help, you didn't get a terrible failure. You just got a regular failure. So here's what happens. As you tap on it, you realize Neeville is looking very closely, and they leaned in, and as you went to tap, the color shifted and it snaps in a second. They must have something on them that was reacting with this room, and these aren't the crystals you thought they were at all. As it changes to a dark green, and as you hit it, you're like, no. And this flash goes out and echoes across the room. And for a second, you see all the other crystals shift to that dark green, and then the dust gets blown off a sign that has like a person and then arrows and then a person, but like different rocks behind them, like it's teleportation. And the whole room erupts in energy, and then it's blackness. And when you all come to, you are in what's left of that room. And there's like blown netting off the side, and there's some crystals that are kind of like thrumming with that dark energy. You're all like knocked down. The wheelbarrow is like twisted a bit because there was no living soul to change it. And like part of the ceiling is crumbled and been blown away. And you can kind of like look out into this giant chasm that stretches up about into the darkness. And like the doorway's still there, and everyone's just like been like shaken and knocked on their feet, knocked off their feet, and kind of like shakily stand up, and the sign like kind of creaks and falls off the wall that's left as you manage to teleport the entire area around you to somewhere else.
Well, I have to admit that's not exactly what I was expecting.
I mean, we're still here, so, could have been worse.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you look over and you just see Gibbs' armor, and then their head just like looking around. And Neville's pack is like jammed into the wall. Like you can see the back of it. You're
Oh my, we should probably pry them out before they suffocate.
it kind of like tries to shift a little.
Yes, we're coming, darling. It's fine. Someone with big, strong arms, pry them out.
Gibbs steps forward and just like, and you see like more tears in the hat, and like one of their eyebrows is just smushed against like this that scratched along the side of their face, and like one of their goggle lenses is cracked.
And like, next time, let's take some to a secure location.
And they just kind of like pass out. And Gib like kind of takes him, like pats him on the head, brushes off the dirt, starts tidying them up.
Aw.
As you all look around.
Well, okay, we should check to make sure that all of their limbs are in the right sockets. As teleportation accidents go, that looks like a mild one, but you never know.
And as well, some things can never be unseen.
Look, I got a pinata outfit for my friend's dog. I just haven't given it to him yet, and I wanted to see if it fits, so I put it on Kermit.
Do what makes you happy, friends.
Like when people dress up in like bear.
Roomies? Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a panda one of them.
I'm more concerned with where the devil are we?
See, I was thinking like more like a pelt than a kigurumi, but then that resurrect
right.
makes me think that pelts are kigurumis. So
They are.
Yeah. They're ancient kigurumis.
Yeah. So Gib walks up to I guess Gervona, and just holds out Neville, who's sort of passed out.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
And I'm used to like picking up my own kids, so
yeah. And he's like, check arms.
Does he look fine? I imagine.
You're gonna have to give me a check. You're gonna have to roll for it.
Okay.
This determines how fine they are.
Seems like investigation is
Or
my guess.
medicine.
Medicine. Yeah. They're both the same for me, so.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
They're just unconscious. They'll snap out of it in a little bit.
They seem fine to me.
Okay.
It's a bit much to be holding all of these things at once, but I'll manage. I kind of turn Neoville over and kind of use him as a tape.
He was just holding the pack out in Neoville for you to investigate, and then he would take it back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's because he'll carry.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm willing to give up the wheelbarrow for them at no small cost to myself.
Yeah. And Gib turns towards the warped wheelbarrow. It's like, and they're gonna try to fix it. No, they go to try to straighten it out, and they just rip it in half. And they have a wheel part of a wheelbarrow and the hail part. And he's like, ugh.
That's really not how it's done.
No, it was actually an evil wheelbarrow, and you just slayed the beast and saved us all. Well done, friend.
He looks at you like, fucking jazz. Yeah, and he's like, I'll work on it later. He puts it down in a pile. He's probably not gonna work on it later.
I mean, I could slot it into my schedule, but unless you really need it to get around, he seems to have a carrier. And
I mean,
your
I
legs
do
work,
find
right?
walking. Yes, it's quite the bother having to propel yourself through your own volition. It's no.
Well, if we manage to get out of here alive, you should come by my shop, and I can fit you with some mechanical legs, maybe.
Oh, or maybe some sort of roller skates, or put it on my bum and my side, so I could sort of do one of these and just slide along.
Yeah, and Gib's nodding
only maybe rocket powered.
Oh, okay. that sounds safe. Yes.
Well, yes, for some values of safe.
I want you all to give me a perception check.
But in the meantime, yes, there's that where the devil are we question. I'm gonna lick my finger and hold it up and scratch at some of the.
That's performance. It's very close. Okay.
Scratch at some of the stone to try and determine how far down we are, Yada.
Sure. Yeah, actually, I think since you're doing all that, would be investigation and not perception. But your base perception is I still needed. But so I need a perception check just to as you're talking, what do you notice?
Okay, so roll investigation instead.
Not yet. Not quite yet.
Okay. Well, I have perception.
Yes. So a 13, a 15, and a 19. What you notice as you sort of quiet yourselves down to talk is the sound of running water. And Gervona and Brad, could you change your name? In the drop-down menu under chat?
Yeah.
Okay. Curdle. Otherwise, there'll be that long pause every time. Gervona and Curdle recognize the very, very quiet. Some from somewhere in this massive chamber, echoing a voice or voices you can't quite tell. You can is that? It's one of those things. Is it actual words or is it just the noise of this thing? And then you hear a clear, not a phrase, but oh wait, that definitely sounds like conversation. It has a cadence to it.
Mm-hmm.
but also you realize that this place is massive. And you kind of look out and step out of the room, and you're kind of like looking at the fresh walls, and you think you are somewhere very deep in the cave system. And you find give me an investigation check to see if you can get a secret fact.
I should have had investigation. Oh, hey! There we go.
Didn't need it.
Nah.
Double 18s. Yeah, I mean, you're a kobold. You've been underground a lot. I'm talking about it. It's fine. And you should have like go out of the room and like lick the rock and like taste the air, and like you realize that you're very, very far underground, but there's a smell to the air that means that like moss and mushrooms and like underground earthiness. So there's at least a living biome system, and you're breathing air. You're not breathing methanes or dangerous things. And as you look around, you realize that this room is like the ceiling goes up for a while, and like the back half of the cavern is covered in massive crystals that are very, very dully glowing. But since there are so many of them, like there's like a pulse to it. It is sort of like dimly lighting up this entire area. And I think you can also see, oh man, Skype did that like turny thing on me for a second. I was like,
Oh.
don't fail again. With an 18, you also notice like as you kind of walk out a little bit, you find yourself on a path, and you kind of like scan down. It curves around the outside of the cavern and like goes down into like this like there's stalagmites like over, and then there's like you can see like the shimmer of water in the cavern too. Like there's maybe a underground river or a small lake or something that you can see in this area. It's a couple hundred yards in space. Yeah.
I'm going to ask the group if we should bother harvesting the lower energy crystals, because they would still be worth something. They're still useful, but they're not what we're down here to find either.
Well, I have no objection, but neither any inclination to help.
Well, I mean, we could take a sample of the lower energy ones to compare, but what I'm actually more intrigued by is the pulse. I mean, if we find the source of the pulse, perhaps we can resolve the mystery of why the crystals aren't generating as much energy as we had been expecting.
If you feel that is the root of the problem, then I find it hard to disagree.
I mean, there's other potential explanations. I mean, it could just be that there's, I don't know. Yeah, the internet dropped. It could just be that something is siphoning off all the energy.
Oh, like a parasite?
Or some sort of lich or devil, or something unpleasant.
Oh.
I'm sure it'll be fine. Well, not really, but when leading an expedition where you're not supposed to mention that you may be doomed. I hear. I mean, I don't usually lead these things. I'm usually part of the technical expertise, even though back in town there's there's the council, but that's a different thing. Anyway, moving right along. Welcome back. Or almost. Ah.
How
Oh,
much?
okay. Motion, no motion.
Nothing.
Just yeah. Okay. Oh,
I've
Skype.
been keeping
Well,
my
okay. You
eye
know
on it
what?
for yeah.
Let's take a short break, and hopefully on the other side of it, the internet will be working well. Possible, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So, please stick around and or click on the next video.